Welcome to the Beauties podcast, where we talk about everything you need to know about women's sports. From the grassroots to the pros, we got it all. Today on the show, we talk with the USPORT Women's Hockey National Champion, a graduate player, and our prediction for a March Madness champion. Here are your hosts, Addie and Cowie.
Cowie. This week, I am on such a high right now from this week. Like, not only is it episode 20.
I know.
Episode 20 at the Beauty Sports Desk, hanging out with you, like, already on a high.
Yep.
March Madness has almost tipped me over the edge of athletic excitement ever. Like, watching, like, even, like South Carolina, Creighton, all that kind of stuff. But even honestly, before we get into it, because we've got so much stuff to get into, follow the show.
Yeah, we say that every week at the very end, and I think we need to do a better job of saying it off the hop. So welcome to the Beauty Sports Desk. One thing that helps us every week is your efforts in liking, subscribing, whether you're following us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, on YouTube. Like, subscribe wherever you are. It would mean a ton to us. Take a couple of minutes out of your day. One thing that also helps is if you could rate and review the podcast wherever you do listen. That's one of the ways that helps us spread the good word of Beauties as we continue to grow this thing. Wild to think we're on episode 20. If you don't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Instagram and TikTok is at Beauty Sports Talk. Twitter is at _Beauty Sports. We do have a voicemail you can reach out. speakpipe.com/Beauty Sports. But we appreciate you all for coming back. Wild to think, buddy. 4 months, 20 episodes.
Unbelievable. Wild. And we've had on such cool guests. We've got amazing things scheduled coming up in April here. Like, I'm on a high. This is absolutely incredible. So yes, please follow, like, subscribe. That would mean a lot to us. But now getting into March Madness.
Yeah.
This and the name has been completely exceeding all expectation. This has been complete madness. Even when you think of alone of the UConn NC State game, Gino went on record saying it was the best game he has been a part of in UConn.
I would believe that. Garth texts saying that was the best basketball game he's ever watched. Double OT. Oh, man.
First time in history. OT, first time in history that's ever happened in Elite Eight, March Madness. And I was on the edge of my seat. It had everything. It had like even the second 3-pointer needed to tie the game to go into the set. Like, it had every single element. And then in this game too, though, you realize, because when athletes get to a certain level, it's always like, okay, are they that good? Or is it whatever? Paige Beckers is that good. She couldn't miss.
Yeah, she just
couldn't miss.
Put a team on her back. And that's, we've said that, and that doesn't matter. That's across all sports, all genders. The elite stand up when they need to be elite. They don't, it's almost like she doesn't know pressure.
Oh, it was like the heavier it got on her shoulders, the more relaxed she got. It was, she was just absolutely amazing. So that, in my opinion, right now, because we've already gone through the semis, right, to find out who's going to the championship game, but even just recapping all the way to this, like, that was the best game I have ever watched basketball.
Yeah.
Like, it was unbelievable. And then even Stanford, Texas, it was 14-14 at the half, ended up being decided by 8 points.
Yeah.
And it's like, this game also had everything to it. It was like the crowd was nuts. And the cool thing that I like is clearly they are asking when you call for tickets what team you're on. Hey, are you coming? Yeah. Are you a Texas fan? Or are you here for Stanford? But because they just like dominated, like the stands were just so visibly red and orange for Texas, right?
Yeah.
And there's something about that Texas jersey. I'm like,
Longhorns. It's so
right?
iconic.
The history of it.
Yeah.
The history of it. And then anytime any free throws were happening, the horns went up, you know, like there's just so much, like just decades and decades of history there, which is
hugely.
And then Stanford, like, well, clearly I was into this because I'll
keep
just
going.
mad.
Keep rattling.
Because Stanford, Haley Jones, like what,
She's got great hair.
Okay, how
Threw you off.
But like I do have, like she has like unreal hair, but I can't stand when one little hair comes over my eye. Like I cut off all my hair. I hate hair. She's got like 20 pounds of like unreal. It's like hair management in the game she must have.
There's some great hair. That's one thing. This is very irrelevant to basketball itself, but there is some great hair remaining in basketball. We saw it this weekend in the Final Four with the likes of what's her name, Aaliyah Edwards.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Aaliyah Boston.
She's always rocking cool colors.
Fran
Boston.
Beliebe.
Yeah.
Like,
Franny.
Yeah.
She was
There was
sick.
even Paige is kind of like patent pending on that hairdo. It seems like, but she rocks that. There's some great hair.
Yeah, totally.
But you're right. I wear a bucket on mine.
Yeah, no, get it out of my face. But they were like so sick. And then like Brink for Stanford during the Texas game was absolutely unstoppable. Blocks one side of the court like a gazelle, just like other side of the court in, back. Like she was just unbelievable. And then the cutest thing I've ever seen, and I thought it was really well done, and with Lexi and Lacey Hall's mom being mic'd up in the stand.
That's what you're saying.
And then she's looking over at all the other parents being like, I am physically and emotionally exhausted.
That would be hard. It's kind of like being the goalie mom.
Oh my God.
You just got double the emotion of every other parent in the room. And she has that because she's got double the kids on the team.
Well,
but
totally. Even in the Stanford UConn game in the semis, I think it was Lexi that got smoked in the face and was just gushing blood. And this is what I like. And I always remember and go back to when Abby Wambach had her face stapled in the middle of a game. Yeah. You like turn into like this super, you don't even care.
Pain doesn't exist. Let's go.
She's gushing blood. And then all of a sudden she's like got this towel, a little clippy thing. She's off the court for like 3 minutes. She's like, am I good? Am I good to go? Is this done? Are we done with this craziness now? Can we move on? Yeah. Because
some of these women have gone into absolute beast mode. Like beast mode. Because
like with the South Carolina Creighton game, I think just the excitement of Creighton being there, because every other team is ranked 1 or 2 when it goes through. So when you see a 10th ranked Creighton coming in, and it was by far the most kind of lopsided game. It's 1 versus 10 as it should, right?
And a big one.
Right, and a big one. Yeah, that's the perfect way of saying that. But the environment, like, it's your first time there. You don't know what to expect. It's intimidating. You're not just going up against anybody. You're going up against South Carolina. And I thought the way that I looked at that game was, I didn't think that they were off physically. Like, I felt like they were in the play. They were moving the ball well. Yeah. They just didn't hit shots, like even from the free throw line.
That's been kind of the storyline of Elite 8 and the Final Four.
Yep. Really. And so that's where I thought that Creighton,
there's just no room. There's no room to be off.
No.
There's none of it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure you're gonna bring up Haley Van Lith, but there's no room for you to not make a 3 until the final 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. Yeah. There's just no room.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Haley Van Lith, and I think that was a big thing for Louisville. And that was our title match. Yeah. That was our title match.
I know. I was going all in with the stack on the what I would call, even though it was a 1v1 matchup. Yeah. The upset. I do think, like we saw that game, if you have players like that who are making buckets that she's made all the rest of this March Madness tournament and year, quite frankly. Yeah. that's an entirely different game. It was hard. I text you. It was hard for me to watch. Emily Angsler gets fouled out on a ball that should never be given up, coughed up in the front court, and she instant tears. And oh God, I just like.
Oh my God, I know. And they reviewed it. They
know.
reviewed it because they're like, that's a big call, but the ref made the right call.
But did you see even how they said the refs are human too? Because she hung her head.
Yeah,
she blew the whistle and hung her head. The referee did because she didn't want to make that call, and that young lady's NCAA career on a fouled out in the Final Four.
Yeah.
But it's your job.
It's your job, and that's what you got to do. But you're right. Like, at that level, that play should have never happened. No. But it did. And yeah, watching, because they replayed it over and over of her hanging her head after it. Because you knew. And, but the cool thing, like we were just chatting about, is the one thing I really, really appreciated from the announcer's perspective within March Madness has been showcasing the next step for them. So saying, Angsler gets fouled out, and of course it's incredibly like emotional, but then they're like, but don't worry, she's ranked number 6 in the WNBA draft. This is you will see her again.
There's more to come. And I liked it. Everywhere we watched, that's what you got. I loved that they had Kia and Tamika Nurse doing a lot of the breakdown here for us. That we saw, and that's exactly right. They have reference points to their own, like Kia talked a lot about her time at UConn.
Oh yeah.
And what it's like to be a part of such an established athletic place.
Yeah. When you walk in, sorry to cut you off, but when you walk into the office and there's 11 trophies when you have to walk by it, she's like, that's by design.
Yeah.
That's by design.
Exactly.
Sorry.
No, all good. And I think that was important for them to showcase that they also have come out of some of these programs that we're watching in Elite 8 and Final Four, and that they're having comparisons between what they have seen in their time in the WNBA and players like Diana Taurasi, and then relating them back to the people who are playing in the NCAA Final Four right now.
Yeah.
It was super cool.
They did it unbelievable. And obviously Gino's like, I don't want to hear anything. Yeah. They know too much.
Yeah. So we're referring to Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi broke down some of the games, and they obviously have a relationship with Gino, who's the coach of the UConn Huskies. And he then in his media segment basically said, I'm not even going to bother watching. I know those two women well enough. I don't need to hear any of the stuff they're saying, which I love that dynamic and just friendship now between these athletes and coaches. Yeah.
It's been like just watching, like obviously now we know that it's going to be a UConn South Carolina final. And I do think that, like, well, obviously South Carolina did have an easier path to get there. Like, and now the conversation always comes back to, okay, who's in the opportunity to be able to, like, UConn has had to fight every single way throughout the entire process. And we've seen that be an advantage.
That scrappiness is, they come out of, had kind of a rough go with some injury and Paige Beckers being out with injury, and then trying to find your way back through that. They've had to grind tooth and nail to get themselves back to that national championship. It is still hard to deny, like we were saying, you've got the coach of the year, the player of the year, and the defensive player of the year on that Gamecocks team. It's hard to deny. And when you watched Aaliyah Boston in that Final Four game, she is a threat everywhere on the court, whether it's offensive, defensive rebounds, time in the paint. She had a step back 3.
That's what I was just going to say, the 3. Like that was, and everybody was like,
what?
Well, yep, she can do it all.
I know.
You betcha.
I know.
And the one name I kept writing down too when I was watching it was Destiny Henderson.
Yeah.
Man, when we talk hair, man, she's rocking it.
You're not wrong.
But even in that too, like, I think like South Carolina has such a deep bench, such a deep bench that when you look, okay, well, you got Aaliyah Boston, who's number 1.
Yep.
Even like your 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are just
huge.
Absolutely. Like Destiny Henderson to me in the Louisville game she was an all-star. Like, I was like, I am so excited to watch her move through her career. I thought she was phenomenal. The way she moves the ball, she kind of the same thing. She can do it all. You need her. And she doesn't stand as tall as Boston is, but she makes her presence known.
What's Aaliyah Boston, 6'5"?
Yeah. Just huge.
I know, she is. And even the coaching that we see in this Final Four.
Holy
We've got some of the most winning coaches in NCAA history, and Gino Auriemma and Tara Vanderveer.
Yeah.
I think they were 2-3 on the list.
Yeah.
Like, and you can't. Then we have that conversation, and then we have Coach of the Year and Dawn Staley.
Yeah. Like what?
Yeah.
I know. It's there's so much high level performance happening on so many different avenues here. It's insane. And like Stanford, I think because when Stanford lost to UConn there, I was expecting a little bit more emotion coming from them, but I think they knew they weren't playing.
I agree.
I think they knew, but that comes from what we're talking about, the leadership of Tara Vanderveer saying like, if we do not execute on X, Y, and Z, this will not go our way.
Yeah.
And when you go through that whole thing and you see you're missing certain shots, and then they were all over Jones. They wouldn't let her out of their sights. Like they were all over her. So it's like, what do you do? Well,
exactly. And it, I think there is something to be said about, they had the buzzer beater win against South Carolina in Final Four last year on their way to a national championship. And so you also have people on that team who lived through that.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it too.
Yeah.
Even in the, when you saw Emily Angsler hanging her head, and by the time they shook hands, she was composed.
Yeah.
Right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, you digest it for a long time after a loss like that, but
for sure.
They're all professionals already.
Yeah, no, they like this whole group, because they said 44 women have declared for the WNBA draft. Yep. Unreal.
Yeah, add a team or two.
Yeah. You know what? They actually did a poll on Twitter of like, where should the next WNBA team be? Where do you think? Where would you think?
No, I don't know. What were the options?
Well, they just said like pick. Where would you want it?
Oh God. I don't know.
Mine was, I cannot believe there's not one in Denver.
Oh, Denver. Interesting. Anyway, well, we got an NBA team there, so that would make sense.
Exactly. The Nugs. Yeah. Huge, cool team. Like, I think a women's team.
Denver's a super cool city.
Right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, like, obviously we want more Canadian teams, like, and obviously we go to Vancouver. Vancouver, Toronto would be the first two to get it.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm like, okay.
Denver. Good thought.
That's what.
Good thought.
I know. They were like, oh, never thought of Denver. I'm like, it's because I secretly want to live in Colorado.
Hey, that would be a great, I've got stuck. That's a hard airport.
Oh, it's a hard airport.
I had one flight flying into Denver once where we had 3 attempts to land, and I swear half the plane was barfing into their barf bags.
Oh,
and I was just green. I was like, get me the hell off of this. And then I had one where, I was so delayed. I had to fly from Winnipeg to Minneapolis to Denver to Arizona to meet my family.
No.
Yeah, they got the direct flight a few days before I was in university. Anyways, and I had to stay over in Denver. You want to talk about being 21 in a fun city?
Oh, yeah.
It was cool.
For sure.
It's a great place.
Yeah.
I would go to Denver for a WNBA game.
100%. So that was where I said, but one more question before we kind of head into our first interview of today. Who's taking it?
Oh, man. I'm on this underdog train because I thought that I was all in, chips in on Louisville beating South Carolina. Yeah. I have a hard time in my heart believing that South Carolina is going to lose, but I'm going to just go with UConn because I know you're going to go with South Carolina.
Yeah, no, it's always got to be, maybe we should actually bet on this one, but it's going to be a dog fight.
Yeah.
Because even when things weren't going well for South Carolina at some points, Coach Dawn, she let you know.
I know.
So I think that, but Gino's been there. Like, the storylines on both sides are insane.
Yeah, no. So we're going to, in my heart, I think that South Carolina is going to win, but I'm going to take UConn because that's how I roll.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
It's going to be one for the ages for sure. So as we move from that and we think about another huge event that's happened, the USPORT Women's Hockey Championship wrapped up in UPEI. Concordia Stingers, baby.
Yeah, they, and very definitively so, are now USPORT national champions. And we had the pleasure of talking to Olivia Hale, who was an absolute rock star. That kid looks like she's been doing this her whole life. She was just cozied in, had a nice little chat with her. So I think if you got nothing else, ads, let's hop to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you enjoy our interview with a national champion, Olivia Hale. Welcome to the Beauty Sports Desk, Olivia Hale, USPORT Women's Hockey National Champion. I think we got a little something for Olivia.
Yes, we do. Ladies and gentlemen.
Unreal. Amazing. Congratulations. How are you feeling?
Thank you. I'm on a high still. It's honestly unbelievable when you look back and you think like it was a week ago today, actually. And, it's just a crazy feeling. We're still feeling like champs right now. So it's awesome. Feeling great.
So many emotions that come in after you win a national championship. What was it like when you guys finally debriefed from the celebration on the ice and finally got back to your dressing room?
Oh, we got back to the dressing room and the first thing I saw on my seat was we each had a t-shirt that said Champions National. And I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, is this happening right now?
That has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. Especially the champion. They make it really feminine in French. So it's a little special, adds a little spice to it. But no, we got back to the locker room and obviously just had fun with the team. But it almost really hit us when we got onto the bus and I looked at my phone and it was red notifications everywhere. So I'm trying to go through all of them. And then I suddenly I look up, right. And I take it in for a second. Everyone just in their phones, just like, guys, we're overwhelmed. There's so many messages to support and stuff like that. And that's when I think it really hit random people from home just sending a congrats message. It was like, okay, hold on guys. We did this. It's awesome. So yeah, it was great.
And when you're in the lead up to something so big, right? As a team, it's day by day, step by step, practice by practice, game by game. And then when you finally get that opportunity to sit there, it's like, this was something so much bigger than us.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And so that is such a cool feeling to just sit there and just soak it all in.
Totally.
Yeah, I think especially with all the adversity we've had with COVID and everything over the past, whatever, how many years, 2 years, I guess now. And then our season being put on pause after we got back from Christmas. It's just we honestly took every single moment as a time to just say guys, this is it. This is our last chance here to be all together. So like you said, we did it game by game, but we didn't even need really to focus on that. Everyone just kind of knew. It was just kind of natural. We were just let's just take it one period by period. And that's what we did.
And when Cowie and I were looking into your, just the league and the stats and all that kind of stuff, you guys went on a huge tear before this. You guys didn't lose a game from November 26th. Was there a shift in them? Was that what you're talking about? Where it's no, we're taking this all the way to the end, and it's just kind of known.
Yeah, I think at the start, we keep saying COVID, but it's at the start, obviously, it was tougher to really just come together. It was just because of the times and because of everything. But I don't know if there was necessarily a click, but there was a click, I guess, because we went on that tear. But I think everyone just, it all happened simultaneously where everyone just said, you know what, guys, like, let's play some hockey. Let's have fun. Let's go out there and just like start winning games. And I mean, we did that. We never looked back. So
was your guys' confidence at like an all-time high? I know Addie and I have talked about, obviously you guys would have watched Canada beat the USA in the Olympics this year. And then you hear kind of that aftermath of players doing interviews, coming home. And they said like somewhere in their soul, they knew they were going to do it because the team just jive. The confidence was at its peak. Do you guys, was that kind of the same story for you, do you think?
I would definitely say that's a good word, confidence. We kept using that word confidence, not cockiness. We kept saying that because we wanted to go in there having like, you know, our chests up and we're proud, we're strong, we're confident that we're going to win this. And I think for me personally, like I'm superstitious when it comes to thinking like, oh yeah, tomorrow we're going to win. You know, I kind of had a problem with that.
Yeah.
But it seemed like that was the mentality going in, just like, yeah, tomorrow we're winning. Like that's a done deal. And normally I'd say to myself, okay, no, go back, amnesia, you know, because I don't want to think that. Like, what, I'm going to jinx myself. But no, that was the vibe, and that's what we did. And I swear, I had a good bit of nerves, but nothing like I've ever, like, championship game came around and I wasn't even nervous. I was just confident that we were going to pull it through. So yeah, I'd say definitely that was our mentality, but definitely confidence, not cockiness.
For sure.
Definitely not a cocky team. But yeah, the confidence helped.
Well, and you guys could see, you know, Addie and I chimed in, we watched that game. And there were some moments where, even though some, you know, early on in the game, things didn't necessarily go your way in terms of some bounces, but if you could see this kind of level of confidence in you guys. And then as soon as that first puck went in, and that was the breaking point, really. It was like you got all the little breaks. It kind of weaved its way through sticks, and puck was there, and I can't remember the girl's name who put it in, but you could see, and then honestly, momentum just looked like it took off for you guys from there.
Yeah, and that first period that was probably the most nervous I've been during the tournament, for sure, that first period. But there was a point where I was on the bench thinking, you know what, like, we're in the championship game of U Sports. Like, it should be tough. We should be a little like holding our sticks maybe a little tighter, just, you know, a little bit more of that edge. But I think once we got into the locker room after the first period, we just said like, okay, let's calm down, because if we think we're going to be making mistakes, we're going to make mistakes. So we just had to get rid of that mindset that we were going to mess up. And we just had to just go in and say, let's have fun again. Let's get our legs back. And I mean, after that, the second period and the third period, that was it for us.
Yeah, for sure. The floodgates opened in the third for you guys, no question. And then it's like, but it is interesting when you hear people, because you look at it and it's like, yeah, it's the two best teams in the country playing against each other. This should be hard. Yeah. This is the biggest game of the year, right? And so when you're in those moments, you've got some pretty high level coaches there, Coach Chu and Coach Ouellette. What was their messaging to you guys? Just, you know, maybe just throughout the whole process, or even in that moment where you're coming back in the dressing room, you know, and it's 0-0 after the first period.
The thing that I would say this whole tournament, this whole season too, is just like, I've been so impressed by the unwavering amount of support and belief that Carlo, Julie, our whole coaching staff had in us. I think the message between that, after that first period, was exactly what I said, as if like, we're playing like we're going to make mistakes, and that's leading us to make those mistakes. So I think the message from the coaching staff was just, guys, like, we're having fun. We're playing hockey, and that's it. And we didn't really need much. We didn't need much of a big, you know, we didn't need a big speech, because it wasn't that we were playing badly. Just we were playing on our we were playing on our heels. Sorry, I should say. Mm-hmm. And basically the coaching staff came in and said, let's play on our toes. Let's get back to playing our hockey. And honestly, just their messages throughout those 3 games was just the level of calmness that they had talking to us just made us more confident, because the second you have a coaching staff that's stressed or just, you know, a bit nervous and jittery around you, it's gonna lead to your players feeling like that. And I mean, Kello, Julie, the whole coaching staff was just so calm. They're just like, guys, you know what to do. Like, let's just go out there and do it. So let me tell you, that helped a lot.
Complete trust, complete faith, trust the process. It's just another step.
Exactly.
And you think that is why it's so important, I think, to make sure that like women that play on such a high level come back, because like who's been in more of a competitive game than Julie Chu and Caroline Ouellette?
Well, and we've heard that, right? Because they started out coaching at UMD. And they were still players at that time. And so there was a lot of times where they would get on the ice and participate in practice through that process. We heard that Joss LaRock can speak really well to that. And I think you're 1,000% bang on, Ads, is like, they know the calm, they know how to win. They're champions themselves, right? And to be able to give that to you guys as a team, I think that is incredibly valuable.
Oh, for sure. Because if you look at like, you think about this, like, what was it, 10 straight that you guys had here? It's like that game against Montreal. You think they just came in and just blew up and said like enough, right? But then it's like, no, they've got this veteran presence of like, this is a part of the process. This is how we roll. And everybody plays the best hockey when they're having fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everyone,
definitely.
You know, so what's been the golden week like for you? Where have you been hitting up?
I'll tell you what, I've been hitting the books. Because I'm sorry that's not the answer you wanted, but
no, we want the honest answer.
Want the truth.
I'm not gonna lie. We were in PI, and you know there was downtime to do homework and stuff like that. There was not a chance. I couldn't even. I would open my laptop. I'd check a couple emails, but like, you know, you're just not in that. It was okay. 5 minutes on the laptop, then close, because you know, you're just there. You're too excited. So this week, I know it's boring, but we've been catching up on so much. It's been crazy right now. I've been answering still messages are coming in from friends and family. Just, you know, congrats on the Golden Week. Congrats on the championship and the Golden Week.
And the Golden Week. That's
We've
right.
got it tagged as that. But a couple of us went out this weekend. We went to just a restaurant with the team, you know, whoever the girls were that were still in town. And we just had fun with each other, because it's crazy, because it's happening so quick, the end of the year, the end of the season, everything like that. So we're just trying to be able to hang out with each other as much as possible before it's the end, because we're graduating 8 players. So it's a big chunk of our team leaving. So it's going to be a different vibe next year for sure without them, but we're just trying to savor their last moments with us. So
for good. Sure. That's awesome. And it's so funny, because I remember going there too, and on the itinerary, it's like you're in somewhere awesome, like downtown Ottawa, and they're like, here's your study hours. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to focus on that this week.
See you later.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
You can. You're so excited, and it's like, why not just totally immerse yourself in the experience, especially with somewhere like PEI?
Yeah, no, totally.
Well,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's the thing. Like, you know, in that hotel in PEI, you're with all the other teams. So you're crossing paths with them all the time, you know, and it's really nice. Honestly, it's a really cool experience. Like, hey, good luck guys today. It's really cool. But I was thinking about it, and there's like team rooms everywhere. Our team, there was always like at least 5 or 6 people in our team room at the time. Like every single day there was people down there. We were doing work. We were getting our ATs were working on us. They were amazing. They were basically they were working harder than us, honestly, that whole weekend. It was insane how much they were doing for us. Or, you know, grabbing food. We were down there watching the other games. Like, our team was always together. That was the crazy part. Like, no one was ever just like in their rooms alone. So we really just bought into just being together for that full week. You know, it was awesome.
That's super good. The vibe, we could kind of tell from the live stream or the CBC stream that we watched, but talk about the vibe. It looked like you guys had a big slew of fans that were able to get to PEI.
Oh my God. I think almost everyone's family made it. It was insane. And we brought our maroon jerseys and our black jerseys. We actually got a third jersey this year. The black ones are super nice. So we brought all the jerseys so that, you know, almost each fan could wear them. And it was funny, like game by game, our fans got louder and louder. I think on the last game, some of the parents went out to the dollar store and bought pots and pans because
I saw that they were doing the good old garbage can bangs.
Because during the Saskatchewan game, Saskatchewan fans were loud. Their families, they had the pots and pans going. So I think our fans got a little jealous. So for a championship game, we were coming out of the tunnel. I look up, I see the pots and pans. I'm like, yep, that's for sure. Amazing. The competitiveness runs with the fans and the parents too. We had to outdo the other fans, but no, they were awesome. It was just nice to be able to celebrate that with them, especially they've been supporting us this whole year. I mean, like families coming in, doing a 6-hour trip there and back just for one game and stuff like that. So to have them there, it was really awesome, special.
You truly do realize the amount of support that's around you that you kind of don't see throughout the regular season. And then you're like, okay, well,
especially when you're focused, right? Like you've got this tunnel vision, you got a job to do. And then you had mentioned, Olivia, you come out of that, like you get on the bus and you've got that moment of like, holy shit, this web of support is so broad.
Yeah.
But it looked like that rink was rocking.
The atmosphere there was awesome. I really enjoyed the venue and everything like that. It was the stands were packed each game. It was crazy. It was really awesome.
I was going to say, because we've got an interview with some UPEI girls, and I was going to say you got some. What would you rate it? We're going to tell them.
Yeah,
we had the USPORT champions on. Their venue was great. Hey.
Oh no! It was really awesome. It's almost like I prefer that than towards like a big rink where you don't fill it. That UPEI game that Friday night we played them.
Yep.
It was packed, like up to the ceiling. Just there wasn't an empty seat, and I was just like, "Oh, this is the biggest crowd I played in front of."
It is so.
Awesome.
It makes such a huge difference being in certain venues because there's nothing like when you feel like the fans are almost like falling on you, or every play gets such a big response. Like it just makes the game like you're just dialed in so much more on it.
Yeah. No, it was really cool. The venue was awesome.
Amazing.
Well, I am just so impressed by your guys' team, your staff. It was so like, just as fans, I hope you put on a show.
Yeah.
It was unreal. Congratulations. And we wish you nothing but the best. And thank you so much for taking time to chat with us today.
I'll reiterate that. I hope that you get to continue to enjoy it. I know you're focused on school, but appreciate you taking the time away from school to spend a few minutes with Addie and I. Congratulations again. It was super fun to watch. The rest of us are super proud of the efforts that you guys put in. So congratulations on being a national champ.
Thank you so much, guys. And thank you so much for covering us and just supporting us. It's been awesome to see the amount of people supporting USPORT Women's Hockey. I think it's great.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
That's the goal here. So we'll have you guys back on. Hopefully when you repeat next year, we'll bring you back on for the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And once again, congrats on such an awesome season.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Certified beauty.
Certified beauty.
And the thing that always gets me when we talk to these like high level performing athletes is that at the end of the day, you gotta love it and you gotta have fun.
Yeah, we have heard that time and time and time again. You and I say that in dressing rooms that we're in. If you're not enjoying it, don't do it. And the easiest path to success is doing whatever it is that you love and having fun doing it. And I think that's exactly what we heard from them. They have leadership that has been on the biggest stages in women's hockey, which certainly would have helped them stay calm, cool, collected, which is what we heard from Olivia. I hope it's longer than a golden week for them. I hope they enjoy it for some time. Yeah.
Live it. Absolutely. And we we told her to just wear it as a necklace. Get
Yeah.
that medal, wear it as a necklace, cruise around town. Why not?
After we weren't recording, and Addie said, "Do you have your medal with you?" And she said, "No." And I said, "Oh man, you're so much more responsible even than me at my age right now. If I had a national championship medal, I'd probably have the medal in one pocket and the ribbon in the other, because I would take that
Party.
everywhere."
Absolutely.
Super
So
cool.
she talks so well, and it just speaks to the level of not only athleticism it takes to get to that level, but just of who you are in your character as a human being. And
totally.
she's just absolute top notch. So once again, congratulations, Concordia Stingers. Let's go. That was so fun to watch. It was so well put on by UPEI. And I think like those types of experiences, first of all, they don't come around very often.
No, they certainly
gotta live it.
don't. Yeah, that's right. They, it's funny because we did also have an opportunity to talk to Sophie Vandale from the UPEI Panthers, and we say it doesn't come around a lot, but PEI has hosted now in her 5th year, and also hosted in her 2nd year. They had one of the cancellation years, so PEI obviously does an absolute bang up job of hosting U Sports Nationals, because they have got to do it a few times in the last handful of years. Yeah, I can imagine. UPEI packed the house, man.
They showed up.
They
knew the assignment.
Yeah.
They knew the assignment. Let's show them a good old East Coast time. And they did. And hearing from Soph, and then also Chiara Esposito tried to join.
Yeah.
If you're listening on, she feels bad. But the Wi-Fi in the dorms just wasn't cut.
No, she did. We said we will get her on another show. We will. Yeah, it's too bad. I know Wi-Fi in the start of this for us was an issue, and we had to get a little upgrade in our house even just to make sure that everything goes smoothly. So totally understand. And we will make sure to get Espo back on the show soon. Maybe when she heads back to Winnipeg, we'll just pull her into the show.
Yeah.
That'd be an opportunity. But I hope you guys all enjoy our time with Sophie Vandale from the UPEI Panthers.
This is going to be a special interview. We are welcoming 2 Winnipeg beauties all the way in PEI, though. We've got Sophie Vandale and Chiara Esposito. Welcome to the Beauty Sports Desk. How are you guys doing?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
I'm doing great, thanks.
You guys recovered, or how's everything going after the championship?
I think.
Oh, I'm recovered now, yes.
So, Sophie, I know that you've been in PEI for a little bit longer, and you were supposed to host the Nationals last year, right before they got canceled. So was it everything that you thought it was going to be, and were you part of the whole planning process?
Yeah, so I actually got to host in my 2nd year as well. So I got to experience that in my 2nd year. And then my 3rd year obviously got canceled. So that was tough because my whole family came out and then got canceled. So it was a tough moment, I guess. And then so to experience it again in my 5th year was like a definitely great experience. And that was my last game for the Panthers. So it was really cool to kind of get that last like feeling with the crowd, like absolutely insane.
Oh, for sure. And like I totally forgot about that. You guys are just doing such a good job. They're just not going to let Nationals be hosted anywhere else, eh?
For the rest of time.
That's amazing. Because Espo, rookie, how was your first Nationals experience?
And she's frozen.
Oh no.
Oh, we got you
Can
back.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got your audio at least.
Okay. I think.
Nope.
The res Wi-Fi isn't cutting it.
Amazing. Well,
Soph, it's just you for now, bud.
We'll wait for Espo to get back on.
Oh, there she is.
We just let it
I
fly
can hear
here.
you guys.
Oh, we got you now.
We got you now.
See.
There you go.
Really? Okay.
So what was your rookie experience like at the Nationals this year?
I just like seeing all.
We did say before we went on air that if things happen, they happen, and we just let her roll, and that's how we do. So, Soph, back to you.
Yeah. No.
Right.
So who got to? Did your grandparents make it out to PEI this year?
Yeah, so my mom came out. My grandpa was supposed to come out, and then I found out like a week before maybe he wasn't feeling well, so we decided not to come out. He's like 83, so it was probably the best move.
Yeah.
He came in my third year when it got canceled.
Okay.
And then my aunt and uncle came out, and then my cousin surprised me. So I had 4 people there, so it was really great.
Amazing. We, Addie and I too. Well, and Sophie and I go back to. So my wife coached Soph for a year on the Avros, and so Sophie, just FYI, I have a lot of conversations with Ash about some of my favorite Avros, and you make that list, my friend. So.
Thank you very much.
But our house was screaming. Like Ash, she still holds you to a very high standard, because there was a few times one time I think you had the puck on the point and she's shoot, Soph, shoot, and then the next one, get up, Soph, get up. So it was fun to watch you from here.
Like earpiece in so I can hear her.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was super fun to get to watch you guys from our couches here in Winnipeg, and I'm glad that you had some family that was able to join you. We heard about the atmosphere. So I just want to talk about, obviously, like you say, you guys got to host nationals your second year, third year it's canceled. We heard from the girls from Concordia that the roof was going to come off that place. Just tell us about what it was like, to end your U Sports career in a barn that was as packed as it was.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure how the stands were going to be, because we were told that it was 75% capacity. Don't think it was that. But hey, I loved every minute of it. Yeah, so we had every team basically there cheering us on. And when everyone started a chant, it was insane. I felt like we were at an NHL game almost. It was really cool. And the Concordia fans were amazing too. So it was just back and forth. And then they would say loudest roll, get a pizza. So out of nowhere while you're playing, everyone's just screaming. So it was just amazing to play that in women's hockey, to see that. And to see young girls coming to watch us and realizing that could be them in the future. So it was great.
For sure.
That's fantastic. So it looks like we do have Espo kicking back with us here. Do we want to do a quick audio check mid-interview?
Yeah, let's go, Espo. Can we hear you, bud? No.
Failed audio check.
Clearly the dorms at UPI need a little Wi-Fi booster.
Little booster. But I love that you bring that up, because I think that that's so important that when we have championships like this, we invite all minor hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be there, experience it, wear their own jerseys, and then, one day be like, I want to be a Panther. Look at this. Look at all of the support that they have. And so when you are, thinking about all this stuff that was happening on the ice and stuff, when was there a point that when all this kind of craziness is happening, when you're like, this is my 5th year? Because I went through that moment.
Yeah, that whole week leading up to nationals, everything was okay, this is my last this, and this is my last this is my last practice. And then it just kind of got really emotional. And then when I was playing my last game, I was like, I just have to enjoy this. Whether we're losing, winning, whatever, don't get caught up with anything. Just enjoy every moment of it. And I did. And I was so happy I got to play in front of my family, because when you play far away from home, they don't get to come very often. So to get to play my last game in front of them was great. And obviously I want to continue playing in Europe. But it was definitely my last game in the Panther gear.
Totally. So how's that been going? Let's talk about that, because we've talked about it on past shows, and it's one thing that has definitely evolved even since Addie and I left university, in terms of more accessibility or more knowledge about what the options are. I'm super happy to hear that you're considering it, because I've said it on the show myself that, I came out of university and I 2 weeks later had a job. So what's that process been for you? Have you reached out? Has anyone reached out to you? How's it been exploring what options are for you in Europe?
Honestly, it's been kind of stressful for me, I'd say, because when I first started researching it, half of the like websites aren't in English. And so you're just like trying to filter through things that like look like, okay, this could be an email. But when you're sending an email out to a team, it's like basically to like their organization and not towards like a specific coach. And so that's kind of tough. So you're just like sending out emails and hoping to get a reply.
Right.
I'm looking towards like the EWHL. That way I can kind of travel, because that's like my goal is to travel and like play hockey at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not like the men's side where they have like agents and stuff. Like I know women's side, they do have agents. I don't know how to find them myself. And as well, like it's not like we get a huge salary. So it's not like I can give a bunch of my salary to an agent who helps me find a team, because like I need that money to support myself while I'm out there.
Right.
But actually one of the rookies on my team, McKinley Nelson, kind of set me up with someone who played on the men's team in Budapest. And he's just kind of been helping me, like guide me through like talking to coaches and stuff, which has been great. But if you don't have someone to help you out, like I don't really know how you go about that process.
Hey, Soph, we're going to connect you with, and when you get a chance, if you're on a drive or you're hanging out, we did a podcast with a girl called named Jacqueline Hawkins. She's the owner of Women's Hockey Life based out of Ottawa. You should get connected with her, because when she was on the show, so that whole business model is around, specifically getting high school kids connected with university programs. But we did throw that question to her about helping people post-university get connected. She played overseas and I think would be a super good resource for you. So we're going to connect you with her, because it sounds like that would be a good fit.
And I was just going to say, you almost read my mind, because I'm like, in our conversation with her, she talked about how, they're starting to really look at that next stage, because there are more options for girls to play in the PWHPA, PHF, but also helping people get connected with overseas. So we're going to do that.
We'll connect you.
100%. We're so excited that you want to keep moving on.
Yeah, that's super good.
I know it's a big thing for a lot of girls, just like wanting to move on, but you either need to know like a Canadian connection to get out there or something like that. Cause like otherwise it's very hard to, talk to teams, find emails. Cause I know I'm just navigating the websites. I'm like, I don't even know what this is saying.
Yeah. Well, and we've talked about that too. That's really a large part of even how we got into this whole scoop is there just isn't enough information, point blank. That's the reality. And you guys would have experienced it through that recruitment process, leaving high school and finding your home in PEI. And now it's just kind of doing that again. And I think there was more resources and less language barrier in finding a home when it came to a U Sports career. But there's definitely work for us to do as a collective community of how to make it easier, better, more accessible for people like yourselves that are leaving their post-secondary and not quite ready to jump into a full career setting and want to pursue hockey further. So
Yeah, I love it. So looking at this season, obviously you hosted, you're at nationals. You guys ended up with a 13-9 overall season record. Over your years, has there been, something as a Panther that, when you talk about culture, when you talk about dressing room, has there been anything to change over the years that has made, you guys a pretty successful program?
Yeah, well, my first year, we were not very strong. We were like one of the bottom teams. And I think going into my third year, that's when we were ranked like third in Canada. So like just as the program went on, we developed so much more. And it was just like great to be a part of that and be able to like host nationals through that. And like in my third year as well, we won in our first round of playoffs. And that was huge because we hadn't done that in like years basically. So just to be a part of like the little victories was just unreal.
And I think that that's one of the things that I think about, because UPEI was a new program when I was playing, so it was kind of starting, and now you see the success that it has. It almost feels like it's just been building blocks every single year, right? And you've essentially been a part of every single one of those, right? So it's always interesting to me to hear about culture from your first year to your fifth year, right?
Yeah, it's definitely has changed a lot. And my coach was a big part of that. He's been coaching the team for 16 years. So he's really brought it from zero to what it is now. And it was his last year coaching this year. So it was a bittersweet moment for him too. And he had COVID during the tournament, so he wasn't even there coaching us. Our other coaches had AirPods in and he was kind of coaching them through that. But it was like very delayed. And so he'd be like, okay, do this. And they're like,
It's already
Play's
done.
already started. Like, yeah, nothing he can do. So we had him on speakerphone throughout the periods, and that's what he was able to do to coach us. And so he did whatever he could to get us through the games.
We wondered because when we tuned in for that Concordia game, and saw that he wasn't on the bench, and obviously they didn't say in the broadcast that he had COVID, but when we were recording that same day, and then we had said, you got to assume, obviously the climate of the world that we're in, we kind of assumed that's heartbreaking for him, but I'm glad he at least got to kind of stay in touch with you. That would have been a hard pill for him to swallow, I'm sure. Holy.
Oh.
Yeah, he definitely was doing everything he could on his side. He was sending us video like every night for whoever team we were playing against, and like obviously he was on speakerphone with us, so whatever he could to help us out.
Wow, that's just kudos to him, because that's a hard thing mentally to go through. You're the coach of this team. It's like you finally get to the point where pretty much everybody works for throughout the entire year, and then you have to sit on your couch. I can't even. I'm too competitive, and I just feel like so. Yeah. I would, how do you even, you get on the iPad and you do everything you can.
No, exactly.
Live on FaceTime.
Exactly, yeah. So if I want to rewind for a sec, I remember parts of this story, but I want to hear it from you of how Sophie Vandale ended up at PEI, because I think it's actually kind of funny to me that you just, and hope and a prayer.
I know. It's actually funny because Bruce talks about this too, and he's like, you're like one of the only people who has ever come here without coming for a visit. And I didn't think anything of it. I just like signed because I think I was like one of the last I think I was the last grade 12 like that had signed. And you probably remember, like I used to phone Ashley all the time, like basically bawling my eyes out.
Panicking.
I want to go somewhere. And so when I finally got like bites when we went to Wilcox, like in Mandy Schwartz tournament, I was like ecstatic. And I think I just like was like, I need to take one of these opportunities. And I was talking to Lance Jones, the assistant coach, and it just seemed like a good fit. Like I just like, everything seems cool about it. Like phoned Bruce a couple times and I was like, I'll just go. Never been past like Quebec out east. So I'm like, we'll just go for it. Like what can go wrong, right? And he'll still bring this up to this day. He's just like, I can't believe you just just decided to come without coming to visit. But I was like, I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was normal.
Well, and what other experience do you have? I do remember this. So Ashley remembers sending an email to Bruce, I think on the bus home, from Wilcox. We can ask her. We'll have to.
I think so, probably, yeah.
Yeah. And Sophie played super well at that Notre Dame tournament. And like you say, got some looks. And yeah, just like we've talked about it in the past, Soph, about when you go on your visit and like in which you obviously didn't do, but you in your gut, when you get on campus, you kind of just know, you have this vibe of like, but I think it's interesting for you because you kind of obviously experienced that in a way through the phone and was like, this kind of seems like it's a fit. I'm just going to pen to paper here and hop to PEI. Why not?
Totally. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of felt like when, like it is very, like a family here anyway. So like, I felt like I was home while I was here. So I loved every second of it.
Amazing.
That is amazing. Can't go wrong with PEI.
Well,
that's
it would be a vibe. I agree with you, Sophie, because I grew up in a small town and I've been to PEI. My family's been to PEI, and it does kind of feel like Manitoba in that way. It's like it's even smaller, but
I feel like I know half the island here now. Like
totally.
Everyone's so friendly. I mean, I like to talk, so I'm sure I make
But like it's true in the sense too of like the process of getting signed can be incredibly stressful. So like honestly,
she made it look easy, man.
Done. Let's go.
I'll just do this.
Oh, so cool.
I know. I work at a hockey camp here. I worked this summer and I did like a little like speech for a bunch of younger girls like going into university, like 10, 11, 12. And I was like, what kind of questions do you guys have like about getting recruited? And none of them had any questions. And I was like, you guys have to have questions because I know I had like 1,000, but I'm sure they were just like nervous to ask because I'm like, ask me anything because I've been through it all.
Yeah.
Totally. Hey, I think there's another question I had in my brain for you. Obviously, I think you're just a natural leader. That's very evident to me. And obviously you were a leader on that team this year. And over the past few years, can you talk to us just about what it was like for you guys, your experience through COVID and how you adapted to that, and then coming into this season and knowing you're going to be hosting nationals, what kind of unfolded for you, and especially for you from a leadership perspective?
Yeah, so definitely last year was tough because it was a waiting game. So we were basically told like, okay, we might start our season in October. So everyone was like getting ready. We'd be practicing, working out, whatnot. And then come October, they're like, no, like we're going to push it back to December. And then we found out like the OUA was like shut down for the year, but we still had hope for ourselves because like the AUS is like, I don't know, everyone is small provinces. COVID wasn't really hitting us very like too much. So we seemed like we were like going to play. And then everyone kind of got the opportunity to play against each other, like in Nova Scotia and in New Brunswick. But because we're the only university on the island, we couldn't play against any other university. So we ended up playing against like Bantam boys and stuff like that. And I'm happy we got to do that because like at least we got to play, but it definitely was a different experience. And it was tough to play through last year because like you had no motivation really to like, you know, like, oh, playoffs to look forward to or anything like that. Like you just were just playing to play. So coming into this year, knowing that we would potentially have a season, we were still waiting to hear about nationals till like near the end of the season to make sure that it was like a for sure. So just try to keep the girls like ready and mentally motivated to like play. It was tough throughout the year. And I have like a busy schedule this year, and I kind of felt bad as a leader because I felt like I wasn't there enough for the girls because I'm currently doing my practicum in grade 4. And so like I'm at school from 7:30 to 4:30 and then like, or 4 and then running to practice. And so I just like felt like I wasn't always there to chat with the girls, like, you know, before practice, getting ready. Like that's like my favorite part, just like bonding with everyone, and like not being there was like hard for me. But the other leaders really picked it up and helped me out. So that was great on them.
It's almost, you can't even describe the mental piece of it, because being on a team when you get into the grind of a season is one thing for sure, but to keep everybody at that level when you don't know when things are going to happen, that's a whole other level. So I wouldn't be too hard on yourself there.
Well, yeah.
Just absolutely grinding, keeping it going. Like
and it's not a new story. We've heard, we did touch base with a girl who plays on U of R hockey. And she said the same thing. Like I think she kind of reiterated, she felt like she learned more about her own mental strength and mental health through it all than she ever thought she would have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. Like you're basically playing like a game against yourself half the time. You're just trying to like win your own battles, and like we were trying to stay super busy last year too, like trying to do activities. But again, COVID, like not like you can do like a ton of things, and you don't want to be like practicing every day and skating because it's like people are just going to become disinterested, right? If you don't have a game to be playing, and like, what are you going to do? Practice power play, but not get to actually use it?
Yeah.
Like things like that. It's a little like redundant almost, but we got through it. So
yeah,
that's right.
Let's flip back to this year's nationals. I mean, obviously that Concordia game, you know, we said on our show, I didn't feel like it was a 7-0 game. We watched you guys. We didn't get to watch the whole game. We had to run down here and record, but we watched the first period and a half, and not a lot went your way there. I don't think that 7-0 was a real indication of that game. But then going in and getting your first national win, talk us through that. How awesome was that as a rebound?
Yeah, so I was like kind of getting it from all my coaches, like saying, okay, we need to get the girls like back ready for tomorrow, because it's like we still had a game to play. And after a 7-0 loss, it's not always easy. But I also felt like we didn't lose 7-0. Like I thought we played well and we held our ground for the first 2 periods at least. And then I felt like the 4th goal in the like beginning of 3rd kind of like tipped us over. But going into the next game, like everyone was good spirits, like ready to go. We're like, it could technically be our last game. It could not. So like, I was like, you know, just enjoying the time. And then while we were playing, I'm like, guys, we can like do this. Like we can compete with these guys. And like, it made us feel like quite good that like we're playing against like the OUA champs. And then we ended up beating them. Also very great, like very good team, but it is hard to play that game when you know you're not playing for like a medal. Like we're only going to play for like game 5, 6, but like to make history for UPI was unreal. Like to be a part of that.
Totally. It gives me goosebumps. And like, that's saying something when you're right. but you got to treat it like your gold medal game, right? Because there's still
Exactly,
something
yeah.
to be super freaking proud of in that game.
Oh, 1,000%. Because you're right. When we were upstairs, it was 3-0. We walked down the stairs, and I think that you were bang on. That fourth goal was kind of the tipping point for you guys. But even when you're like, with all the conversations we've had with athletes, when they go from kind of down to up is when the mentality in the room changes from like super tense to relaxed and happy and fun. Would you say that it was kind of the same vibe that you guys had in your dressing room?
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to like put out to the team. Like, let's just have fun, because whenever we get like tense or whenever it's a big game, I feel like, you tighten up on your stick and you're like making these mistakes that you never usually make because you're so nervous. And I think because we were just like out there having fun, like we had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Like we were ranked 8th. Like everyone expected us to lose every single game. So I'm like, let's go have fun. Like, what else are we going to do? Like, enjoy it, because we're never going to play against this crowd ever again unless you guys make it to nationals in the future years, which I hope they do.
Yep.
But who knows, like whoever hosts nationals may not have a crowd like that. Like PEI comes together to really create an amazing crowd. So I'm like, enjoy this, because women's hockey doesn't always get this.
Wow. Yeah.
That hurts my soul a little, but yeah, you're right. You're not
right.
wrong. You're not wrong in that it doesn't. And we talked about before you guys jumped in today, of the teams that win, the teams that find a way to win are the most team, right? Like, I think that's what it's make or break. We've all lived through that in sports, where you have that team that is super skilled on paper and just does absolutely shit with it.
Yeah.
Because you're not a team, and clearly you guys had built in that team culture. So super fun to watch.
Yeah. And when and it's funny because you hear it all at like minor hockey, when people are like, girls, let's just have fun. Like, let's like, move the puck around. Let's have fun. And then you get to the highest stage in the biggest games, and then it's like, let's have fun.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And the sometimes it gets a bit too serious, and it's been so interesting for us to interview all these incredibly high level athletes, and they're like, the difference was when we were not having fun and when we were having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it blows my mind how that simple thing translates all the way up to the highest level.
Totally.
Oh, totally. Like, my perspective kind of changed at nationals, I'd say, because I am a very competitive person. So like, I always want to win and whatnot. And then I kind of just was like, okay, I need to enjoy this, because if I'm getting mad at these little things, like, I'm not going to enjoy my last couple games. And so it's what we did, and it worked out really well. And I got the opportunity to sit beside Troy Ryan at our dinner for our gala. And so we were just chatting with him about the Olympic experience, and he said that the girls on the team, like, he's like, they just had so much fun. And I think that's why they won. Like, he's like, every moment, like, they were just like joking around, dancing on the bench, and like they're at the Olympics, right? Like, that's the highest level you could play. And they're just having fun, and hence why they probably won, because they were just enjoying the time while they were out there.
Yep.
We've talked about that 1,000 times. You looked over at Canada's bench and they were laughing, smiling. Then you looked over at USA and some girls were crying. Like, it was like, for me, I think that you're bang on that. It was like, you could tell that they were there. They had a plan, they had a mission, and you could see it in their faces.
Yeah. What a cool experience to get to pick his brain a little bit, though. That's awesome.
Very cool.
It was really cool. So everyone had to eat supper, and like every team had to eat supper in separate rooms, just COVID protocol. But the UPEI like room was the biggest one. We had all the guest speakers and all the UPEI athletics people there. And our team was all split up with people part of the athletic department, whatever, guest speakers. So my table, I got to sit with him, and we were just kind of picking his brain. And it was a really cool experience, because he's also the women's DAL coach, like Dalhousie. And so he was kind of telling us about that a little bit, but just to hear about the experience. And he was just making me laugh. Like, he was saying that when they would call up the starting lineup for Team Canada, because there was no like fans really, all the girls on Team Canada would like be booing their own team, like, just like, create like an atmosphere. And I was like, oh, that's hilarious. I love that. He's like, I thought it was so weird, but hey, the girls loved it.
You're right into it. And he's like, whatever makes this tick, baby.
You do you.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
super cool. Did you guys, I mean, obviously you're hosting, but did you get the whole hotel experience, or did you go home every night?
No, we didn't. And my second year either, we didn't get the hotel experience. And I honestly probably prefer it, just because like I get to sleep in my own bed. Like, my mom and them had an Airbnb here, but I didn't stay with them. I stayed at my own house on game days, because I just I like to keep my routine the same. And so,
Yeah,
Right.
totally.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, we wondered because the Olivia from Concordia, she was saying that obviously there's not a ton of hotel options, and so everyone was in the same hotel.
Yeah.
And she was like, it was cool. Like you would see people from other teams, and you give them their good lucks and whatever else. But what an interesting experience. Yeah,
For sure. So let's dive into a little bit of the hosting responsibilities you had. So after the championship, was there a party that happened, or what? Was there something that happened out in PEI there?
yeah, there may have been something. Funny because like everyone on our team kind of knows like one or two people from the other team, like, just growing up. So I knew someone from Nipissing, and then UBC had quite a few Manitobans on their team.
Yep.
So we kind of all like texted the people we knew, and we're like, everyone wanted to like celebrate, obviously, like cool weekend, done hockey. So we all had a little gathering, or a big gathering, I should say. And it was a lot of fun. Like, it puts things in perspective that like, we're all here to play hockey, but like, we're all friends, like, or we can all be friends at the end. Like, it was really cool experience.
It is.
Just to hang out with them.
It is such a community. Like, it doesn't matter. And I'll tell you this, Soph, that it doesn't matter. I'm 15 years out of graduating from university, 13. And it doesn't change. It doesn't change. Addie and I now, there's a birthday party for hockey friends of ours, kid this afternoon. We're
going.
Yeah, we hang out with the same type of people. And now with Beauties, as we interview people, you find I played here at this nationals with this girl, and there's so many connections. I think it's amazing that you guys took that initiative to bring everyone together, because it's not going to change. You go to Europe, you come back, hockey will follow you, and you just instantly connect with people, which is super fun.
And I was just going to say, like, that's how connected it truly is. Okay, well, I know her from this team. Okay, that means the team is coming. I know her from the team is coming.
Yeah.
So those are, when I look back at nationals, and when I look at, the experience of, obviously you hosted, we never got to host, but like getting on the plane to go to nationals, it's almost like the hockey was obviously a huge part of it, but all the experiences around it, like I'll never forget us, you and U of A. Like Bisons and U of A do not like each other.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, kind of like the way that we became friends. I don't know if you ever heard that story, but Callie and I became friends by being like, I heard you don't like me.
Yeah.
I heard you don't like me. Friends? Yep. Friends. And it was the same thing with U of A. We were like, no, we're going to be friends now. We're going to party in this lobby until we get kicked out of the lobby. And it was awesome. And that's what you remember, right? So good on you, because that's the best part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was fun. I know all the other teams had a lot of fun, and a lot of them had to leave quite early the next morning because Charlottetown is so small, like their airport is so small, that a lot of teams actually flew into Moncton or Halifax. And so some of them were flying out of Moncton or Halifax at like 6 a.m., 8 a.m. So they had to do like that 2-hour, 4-hour drive first and then fly. Oof. And so I think a lot of them just got back to the lobby at like 3 a.m. and then
got on the bus.
I love that.
Yeah.
I got a funny story about a girl that did the same thing, but when she got on the bus, realized her pants were on backwards.
Oh boy.
We're like, and you've got one shoe, so let's do This is insane. This is insane.
Boy.
But yeah, so many good stories, so much fun. Like,
that's amazing.
It is amazing. So,
yeah. So if we're super proud of a Winnipeg kid who's represented here so well, like I say, you will remain on the list of some of my all-time favorite Avros. I'm excited to follow. We will connect you.
We will, for
sure. To try and help on the next part of your hockey career, for sure. I'm excited to follow you there, too. It was fun to watch you. I think whatever grade you end up teaching when you're done the hockey stuff and come back, we'll be lucky to have you. Hopefully that's in Winnipeg. But thanks for taking the time. Let's give you an opportunity to plug UPEI, plug USports, whatever it is, but give us some final thoughts, Soph.
Well, I'd like to thank you guys for having me on the podcast. It was great chatting with you guys. I hope that you guys continue to interview a lot more female hockey players or any kind of sports, because we need to grow the sport, and young girls need to see what like what they can do in the future, because I think it's really important that they have female role models to look up to and not just male role models.
Totally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to thank you again for having me on the show.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Betty. Take care.
Take care. See you.
Okay. She is one of my favorite humans. She's so composed, so well put together. She's a natural leader. I love her.
Top to bottom. Unreal. And I loved how she spoke so much of like her time there and just the progression she's seen within her team throughout her entire time there. They're just building blocks bigger.
Totally.
And I love hearing that.
Yeah, and you can relate to that, right? UPI, you said, came into U Sports in your time as a Bison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we never, as a Bison, cross paths, but we did play them when I was out playing hockey in Alberta.
Yeah.
And so we cross paths there, and you could just see the change in, you know, honestly, the overall just culture towards the team. It's, you know, being able to go now host a national championship, come out with the first ever UPEI win.
Yeah.
Big deal. Huge deal.
And I love how they, you know, obviously we said that first game against Concordia I still believe that. I don't think, like we said, it was a 7-0 game, but changing the attitude and understanding you still have something to play for, and what a way to be in the record books of the first win at a national championship.
And when you talk to people like Soph, and you hear the way that she, you know, speaks about her teammates and speaks about her coaching staff and the trainers and everybody around, you know why they've gotten better. Right?
Culture.
You get that culture, you get that quality of character person in your dressing room. Mm-hmm. They take care of the logo, they do all the right things, and good things will happen. So unreal.
No, I agree.
Unreal human being. She's another one. We'll invite her to the Beauty Sports Desk down here.
Absolutely. So when you listen to this, if you're back in Winnipeg, give me a buzz.
That's right. So just so lucky to have those two on, be able to talk about their experiences, because to get to a national championship is one thing, to win it is another, and to just see how well spoken, the whole package of who they are as athletes and people just shine through today.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. I think that it did continue to shine a light on some of the efforts that, as a collective hockey community, that we can do to continue to increase the awareness and understanding. You know, U Sports, I did tell you that earlier today, that U Sports has done a better job in the last couple of weeks. So just want to give them a little clap on their coverage. Social media coverage has improved since the U Sport Women's Hockey Nationals. They're doing a better job. But we heard, you know, and they're both grateful for an opportunity to talk to someone who's going to help shine a spotlight. And there's also lots of gaps in understanding what to do next when you're leaving your U Sports career. So as a hockey community, I think that was an interesting takeaway for me, that I think there's more we can do to support these young women. Yep. But we're on our way.
Yep, we're on our way. And that's exactly what Beauties is here for. We're going to, you know, do all that, get her connected, and can't wait to hear more about Sophie's career when she gets overseas, and follow her through all of her travels, because with UPEI hosting back-to-back, right? Mm-hmm. We also had back-to-back championships in the PHF with the Boston Pride.
Yeah, which that was, we maybe should have saw that coming.
Yeah, yep.
After that, like you talked about last week, 6-bagel rip, and they made Toronto look rough. Yeah, Toronto.
Who knows? Because I was sitting there, and I was like, even before playoffs started in Tampa, I was like, I think the Six are taking it.
Yeah, well,
I think the Six are taking it. Like, I just think that they've been too dominant throughout the year. They beat them 4-3 before going to Tampa, and I'm like, I just can't see them giving it up. And then they beat them 5-1.
Wasn't even a game. I watched it. It wasn't even. Toronto didn't stand a chance, quite honestly. And that's part of what makes, you know, the PHF to have this culmination of a season and so abruptly. It reminds you of a national championship, the way that it's structured, and that if you lose that first game, you're You're playing for pride.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we talked about in a previous episode that is it an advantage to have to sit out that first game? I'm not so sure. The bye is tough. The bye is tough.
The bye is real. You work all year to earn the bye, right? And then you get there and it's like, oh, okay, wow. Because I thought a lot about with Boston and them coming in, and obviously they're defending champs. They've been there before, but they were coming off a 5-game losing streak.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were like
skidding.
Like they were just getting by, and then a flick of a switch went off and said nope. And I wonder, like, it would be great to have one of them on, because I'm assuming the conversation would be consistent.
Yeah,
we started having fun. Yeah. We started playing like a team.
Nothing to lose. Why the hell not? Let's
get after it. So they end up taking 6-0 against Buffalo, 5-1 against Toronto 6, and then winning the Isabel Cup 4-2 over Connecticut Whale.
Which again was decisive.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It was, I would say the Whale came out and were given it for like 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it was kind of chase hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And what was interesting too to me, we saw more highlight reel goals in the Isabel Cup than we did almost all season.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
There was like some incredible individual efforts.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That turned some of these games around. So yeah, maybe we should have also, there is something to be said about knowing how to win. And Boston clearly had that, as now they are back-to-back Isabel Cup champions.
They are back-to-back.
So
they
sometimes maybe we discredited that a little bit too. But
yeah, they gave them bucket hats instead of like
I like
lids.
I like that.
That was pretty funny.
I'd rock a bucket hat.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably look like
they
a big
lived.
Goof, but.
And then, because we were talking about how it represented All-Star Week in a lot of ways, and I think they lived it up to be like All-Star Week. Like they were just the
fit checks too on Instagram.
It.
Yeah, they were looking sharp.
I love it. So yeah, congratulations, Boston Pride. You just crushed it.
Agreed.
You just went there with a mission and you came out and you crushed it. Because they put the puck in the net.
Big time.
That was insane. 15 goals in 3 games.
Yeah.
What?
I know.
That's like unheard of.
Well, we didn't. Yeah, the only team that might have done that this year was Toronto.
Yeah. Yeah. But
because they strung together some big wins.
They totally did. They totally did.
Some big L's.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. So very interesting ending to the PHF. I thought they did a great job promoting it, getting it out there. You were able to watch when you wanted, you're able to watch as much as you possibly could. I saw that they did a lot of stuff to like promote it when they were there. So they had like little booths, like signature booths and all this kind of stuff set up for young kids. So I really enjoyed that.
No, I agree. I think it'll be interesting to see what this offseason holds, because we've got the PWHPA in their last showcase this weekend. So the end of the PWHPA for this season by the time this hits your ears. And that then hopefully will allow for some conversations of what women's hockey looks like come next September.
Yep, absolutely. Because that's now that they've declared and said NHL has requested a meeting. Now everybody's like, when, where, who's in attendance?
Yeah, and
everybody wants to know the
I think
details.
that's part is who's in attendance, because we saw the commissioner of the PHF decide to call it a day, and move on to something else. So yeah, like there is a lot of question marks, and we'll continue to follow that throughout the course of the summer as anything comes up. But it's always that gap time between hockey season for me that's. You start to get itchy about August 1st.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. Absolutely. So the women are currently in Montreal. It's been really, really good hockey. Obviously, all the Montreal girls that are on Team Canada went and did like an appearance and did the whole thing. And you want to know what? Guess who else got invited to the puck drop?
Who?
Concordia Stingers, baby.
Yeah, well, makes sense. Montreal.
I loved it.
Cool.
I was like, that is when I saw, you know, all the women go out and then you see all the Stingers jerseys there too. It's like that's it.
Yeah.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
So there's also the Chevron Championship going on right now for women's golf. Our girl Brookie tied for 5th.
Did you see that Brooke
round.
had to? So they changed the rules of the LPGA that you had to have. You couldn't. The longest your driver could be was 46 inches, and she used to rock a 48-inch driver. I loved here. So this was the thing is like they did. I saw it on social media, maybe on Twitter. Someone asked her about swinging a new club and what are you swinging, and she's like, I don't know. Talk to Andrew. I think his name was. But she's obviously hit the ball pretty well. They put some weights in it so that it would feel, and she was kind of right at the end of the club, so it would feel like she was choking up on a 48-inch versus being at the end of a 46.
I wonder why that would need to be monitored. I'd like to have like somebody on because what difference does that make?
Well, it's kind of we've seen that in sports, and we've seen it more, if you're talking specifically about golf, we've seen it more in men, like in the PGA, where there's guys changing up clubs to try, like, because you think about your golf course, you can't make it long, like, the course is the course.
Yeah.
There's only so much land.
Right.
And so we've seen it in things like hockey in the past, where we had to cut down pad sizes and equipment sizes, right? Because the only way for us to regulate or make it more fair is in the equipment, because our technology and understanding your swing and muscle development and all of those things has improved so much.
Right.
The only thing we can hold back in something like golf is the club.
Yeah.
So I assume it has something to do with that, but I don't actually know.
Yeah, no, for sure. That makes complete sense. But for somebody who's known for that longer club like Brooke,
It's a huge thing.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal. So that'll be interesting to
make it
dive
look
more into
easy,
that.
though.
Oh yeah, and we got Jessica Korda third and Cup Show with a pretty demanding 16 under lead in the 4th round. So. That'll be finishing up here in just a little bit. So I'm assuming, unless she completely tanks and completely, just throws away the day, Kupcho will be the champion of the Chevron Championship.
Cool.
So much amazing stuff.
Yeah. These episodes are a bit tough because we obviously want to bring to your ears and do due diligence in covering with some of these athletes, but there's always lots to talk about.
Yes.
And that's the hard balance, which is also why we've got 20 episodes in less than 20 episodes worth of time, because every once in a while we record an extra something because we feel like we haven't quite done it justice. So
yeah, absolutely. So once again, thank you, Olivia and Sophia, for coming on. Sophie. And I really appreciate your time. This is, we got through a lot of stuff today, but it was so great to have them on.
Totally. No, I think we're going to continue. USports is a fun path.
Yep, I agree.
USports is a fun path. So yeah, again, appreciate both of those ladies' time today. And we hope that you guys enjoyed the show.
Yeah. So, Cowie, final words.
Final words, buddy. It feels like spring. Finally, our snow is starting to melt. We said that a couple episodes ago. We appreciate everyone who continues to come back. Hopefully, as you get into your spring and summer adventures and you've got some more airwave time in your cars, you can pass this along to friends, family that you think would enjoy it. We appreciate you being here with us, but I appreciate every weekend with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe, and we will see you all next week.